right. How many of you have heard of Faith Adoption Ministry? Some of you are employees of Baptist Children's Home, so I'm glad you're raising your hands. Faith Adoption Ministry is located on Lincolnshire Drive here in Mount Vernon. We cover the entire state of Illinois, and we are just one of the several ministries, Baptist Children's Home, that you've already heard about this morning. We work with both birth mothers, birth families, birth dads, as well as adoptive families in the state of Illinois. Some of our adoption services include home studies. How many of you know what a home study is? Long process. Some of you have been through that. That's the beginning of the adoption process for families. Families who are adopting have to do that. We provide in-person training at our offices here in Mount Vernon. That is also required to adopt, both domestically and internationally. We provide services to birth mothers. We do in-person counseling best we can. We did a little bit of both during COVID, as Mark was talking about. But we will go to their homes, and we, again, cover the entire state of Illinois. We provide these services up to 6 months after they've placed their child for adoption, as long as they want those services. We also do post-placement services after a child has been placed with the adoptive family. We go to those homes as well. We host meetings between birth families and adoptive families. We offer openness in adoption. We call it modern adoption these days. How many of you know about modern adoption? A little bit? So there are degrees of modern adoption, and we tailor it to both the birth mom and the adoptive family. What that means, though, is our birth moms get to choose and meet the adoptive couples. The adoptive couples put together these portfolio books. We show these to the birth family. I keep saying birth mother because that's mainly who we get the opportunity to work with. But if we get the privilege to working with the birth father too, we will do that. But our adoptive couples put these together. Birth families look at them, choose the couple, and then they can meet them. This empowers the birth family as they make such an important decision of placing their child for adoption. It empowers, it gives them confidence, it helps them heal. So we are blessed to be able to do that. We also provide follow-up services to birth families after the child has been placed. I mentioned that. Many adoptive families, because they know it is important for those birth moms, birth families, birth fathers to heal, they do little books, pictures of the adoptee to give to the birth mom. This is an example of what one of my adoptive moms did for the birth mother. So again, we are all about helping children, uniting families, adoptive families with those children, and helping those birth mothers with those adoption plans. But what's really important is healing after that, praying with them, helping birth moms to say goodbye to those little folks and move on with their life. I've had the pleasure of getting to place 3 babies last year with adoptive couples. That is something that we hadn't done in a while, so for us to do 3 placements at all, and especially during COVID, was pretty amazing. I've also got the opportunity to have one of them here, one of our adoptive moms here this morning. She and her husband, Ryan, adopted a little boy last year during COVID. The birth mom really couldn't have anybody at the hospital because of COVID, and she still was able to make an adoption plan during that. It was miraculous. So I'm going to ask Stephanie to come and speak and just share her adoption journey.
Okay, so I'm incredibly nervous. I don't normally speak in front of people, so this is out of my comfort zone totally. So the adoption journey, typically you would think, your year starts when you get your home study approved. For me, I felt like it started when I was a young girl. So I'm going to cry a lot too, so just bear with me. When I was 17, I worked in a daycare, and I cry still because this little girl, well, she's probably been my drive my whole life. She was very mistreated, and even at 17, the longing to just want to take her with me and to help her and to save her, I guess, every perfect family that's not real, we live in an imperfect world. But at 17, my thought was, I'm just going to take her. My parents thankfully intervened and said that's called kidnapping. You probably should not do that, Stephanie. And I said, oh, okay. So instead, they talked me into just being the light that I could be while I was with her, at the daycare, etc. But I always think about her, and I've always thought about, I hope one day I get the opportunity to get to do something big, for somebody, for a child. So fast forward, there's college, marriage. I had my own children, which was just amazing, 2 girls. I love them so much. My husband got a vasectomy. He is very goal-oriented, wants to have everything paid off and have college funds set, organized. I am not so much that way. I'm more, hey, let's spend it. Let's go here. Woohoo, so we're a good pair. God did a great job there. But, again, there was still that longing for more kids for me, and I thought, oh, my goodness, it's over. Now what are we going to do? So I didn't push the issue because I feel like we're a team, and if he was done, then I am done too. That's how that works. And I just prayed that God would maybe change my husband. Maybe he would show him that, hey, this is a good thing, and this is what you guys need to do. So fast forward to 2016, I received a box in the mail. Everybody that knows me knew that I wanted more children, but this box was full of baby formula. And I'm like, oh, well, gosh, who would do that to me? It just made me cry because I thought, that's a terrible gift to receive in the mail. So then a month later, a girl called me. There was a group, it's called His Little Feet organization. I don't know if you've heard of them, but they're fantastic. She said, hey, you came to my mind. God, he just said your name. Would you like to host these kids for a week? And I'm like, well, are they girls? Because I really like having girls. They're clean and fun. We can craft. And she said, no, it's 3 boys. And I'm like, ooh, I'm like, I don't know. Let me think. I took the kids. Oh my gosh, it was the most amazing experience. My girls loved it. My husband loved it. It just changed. He was at the end of the week. He was like, oh my gosh, we need some boys in this house. We need some kids. We need some more kids. We loved having them there. So that night I was talking to a girlfriend late at night, talking about the experience and how much I just loved them. And I got a phone call, and it was a lady asking me to take in her great nephew, which was just odd. So we took him in, had him for 10 months, and he went back to his mother. Now, at that time, I was not happy about that, just because I loved him so much, and I was in love with this boy. Now, calming down, and not long after, it was for the best. It was good. She changed. She was doing good things, and God healed her, and we're still in touch to this day, and that's an amazing, amazing thing. But I prayed for patience at that time to slow me down. Yeah, I know, right? That's a terrible thing. I quickly regretted it. And I kept asking him, like, well, anytime you want to take that prayer back, I'm all for that, because it was not fun. But through the journey of all that and getting to the home study, so much growth happened for me. I'm a person of quick results. If there's something I want, not necessarily materialistic, just anything. You know, you work hard, you get it, you know, and do it quickly. I think we live in a world of fast. Everything's fast. And adoption was not fast for Stephanie at all. So we got our license. I went in very arrogant to her classes. You know, I'm like, psh, I know about kids. I don't, you know. Not true. Not true. I left. I learned a lot from Regina and Christy. Love both of them. They're great, great. We were chosen very quickly. That went south. We were chosen again. That went south. We were chosen again. We did the pregnancy with the mom for, you know, the whole way until she had him, and then she backed out at the last minute. That was hard. But again, I threw a little fit. You know, my husband just stayed away for a couple days because I may have squashed most of our produce that I grew in my garden that year. It was awful. It was so childish. But I was mad. I was really mad. And anywho, yeah, it hurt. I mean, it was twins, so I had double of everything bought. And but that doesn't matter. So moving on. So the little boy we got, he has double of everything, which is super cool. You know, like that's great. Grandparents love that. So anyway, there was quite a few months there. Everything was just kind of stagnant. You know, it was a standstill, and it was getting closer to the end of our license. And I thought, oh gosh, we need to make the decision. Do we want to renew? And you know, I have my girls to think about. They've been through a lot. They've had a lot of loss. Are they gonna just start guarding their heart more? Because I don't want that. I want them to love freely. So I started second guessing what I was putting my family through. So we were getting close to the end of the road, and another agency had called me, and they said, hey, we've got someone, you know, she's wanting to put her baby up for adoption. The baby's not due until, I think, July or something, which would have been after we would have had to renew our license. And I was like, okay. So I went to call Regina, you know, to talk to her about this on May 19th. And picked up my phone, went to call her, and lo and behold, Regina called me. And I was like, wow, okay, God, that's pretty cool, thanks, you know. And I think I started crying probably pretty quick just because I was so shocked that, you know, how God works and how he uses all of us in so many ways to help people. And we don't even realize it half the time, you know, you really don't. So she called me, and she told me about our little Stetson, and I, of course, was like, yes, like, is that even a question for me? I will be there immediately, you know. And telling my girls, running in, I'm like, oh my gosh, you know, guys, we got to get the diaper bag packed. And they were like, what, really? And I'm shaking because it's just so incredible how she listened to God, you know. And I know this is all God, and the journey getting here was hard. But I'm so grateful because I do have more patience than I had anyway. Maybe not the most patient person still, but way more humble. I'm humble. I realize that, you know, just because you think that you deserve something doesn't mean you do. But I'm grateful. I think I'm even more grateful too, you know, now. Had maybe I not been hurt so much, maybe I wouldn't have appreciated it as much, you know, or realized the people that helped me get here. And that's Regina and Christy. And so before I cry too much more, I just want to say, you know, whether you adopt or whether you foster or whether you help kids out at the home, whatever your job is, whether you're donating, you're a Sunday school teacher, just know there's so many ways you can help children, and I'm all for that. It's a good thing. So thank you.